Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our graduation gift bag. This one's going to be real quick, and well, the cool thing about this is that, depending on where they're graduating from, this will be appropriate for high school, college, maybe even junior high. You could probably do it for like grade school, but I really think it's more for, older kids, I guess you could say. So we're going to start off by putting together the main parts of the bag, and there's two of them, just like this. And we're going to begin by applying glue to this large tab. Doesn't matter which side or which piece you use first. We're going to be joining them together using both sets of tabs ultimately, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to spread that glue out nice and thin. You can go ahead and put that down flat on your surface, grab the other half, and just line that up. Butt that up right against that little score mark there. And once you have it, you can go ahead and fold it over on itself and kind of check your alignment. It should be pretty flush. There we go, press that down. And continue just pushing that seam down, making sure it's got good grip all the way through. Okay, then we're going to head over here to the other side, and we can apply glue to this next tab, next large tab here. And again, I like to spread the glue out, especially on something like this, so that when we do connect the two ends, as we're pushing down, we don't end up getting glue all over the place. Okay, so what you can actually do is take this and put it down flat, grab the other end, and just bring it over. It should match up without really having to try too hard. And see, that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. It happens. Don't worry about it too much. And go ahead and fold it over onto that seam. Press it down. And what you'll notice is that on one side, you have a series of little markers, and on the other side, you don't. Okay, this side here, and we're going to do this while this thing's still flat. It's just going to be a lot easier to work with. Okay, so we have a series of markers here, and those markers, you use that to put down these pieces here. Okay, now obviously, you can see that there are little holes cut out at the top, and that's where our little cord's going to go to kind of, give us handles for the bag. So let's just do this while it's flat. You go ahead and apply your glue to this piece first, just this V-shaped white piece with little holes on it. It's the thickest of all of the pieces that we're going to be applying here. And you just really want to get it flush at the top and then aligned right on top of those little holes. And when you do that, it should pretty much go all the way out to the edge of the face of the blue part. Okay, so there's that. Very simple so far. Next, okay, so let me just explain something real quick here. Now, depending on your school colors, if your school colors, well, there's going to be one main color always, usually anyway. So I would make the main part of the bag, whatever the main school color is, I would use that for the main part of the bag, and then accent it with, well, maybe this color here that goes on the collar. Whatever the secondary color is, you could use it there. That's what I would do. The gold pretty much works with pretty much anything, really. Okay, so the gold's going to go over like that. So let's flip that around and apply our glue. And with this, the flat part of the top of this V shape, obviously you want that to be flush with the top of the bag. And then again, we're using those little holes there to help us with alignment, and it should fit on top of the entire white piece pretty flush. So you shouldn't see any of that white popping off the sides there. Okay, next, I'm going to take this white piece and put that right on top so that we just have a little bit of gold on both sides there, just that little trim. So this one's going to be super easy to put together, which is great. You know, if you're going to a graduation, you want to give a little gift, whether it be cash or something else. Or if you're doing cash, we actually have a graduation card in this bundle, which would be more than enough. But if you have a small gift you want to give, this would be the ticket. Okay, so same thing here. Just line up the holes, make sure it's flush at the top. And I didn't do any inking on the white. As far as ink goes, I hit this with a little bit and this with a little bit. Other than that, everything else is either super white and it would throw off the clean look that I was going for, or it's super dark and you're not really going to be able to tell too much. So not really much inking involved in this project. Okay. So now we're going to grab this piece, and same thing here, just align the holes, make sure it's flush with the top or the opening of the bag, and the rest of it will fall into place for you. Just like that, super simple, but nice and elegant, and it's unisex too, so you can definitely use it for male or female. Okay. All right, so, well, obviously we have a mortar board that we need to put in place, but up here, where you see these little cutouts, or the little markers there, those are actually little markers to help you with the placement of this part of the caption. This says class of, and we've included numbers 0 through 9, so that you can not only use this for this year, but it will come in handy in the future. So there's this first little marker here. That's where the beginning of the C is going to go. And then if you just kind of rotate it a little bit, you'll see where the rest of these little markers need to go. And that's to help you get that aligned properly. So there's class, and I'm literally just putting a little bit of glue out, or, you know, just squeezing it enough to get a little bit of glue to come out, and then just kind of hitting that with a few little dots of glue. You don't want to overdo it, don't need a lot. Okay, and then use those little markers as your guide. Once you place this sort of in the vicinity, you'll see exactly where it needs to go to get that nice and centered. And that looks beautiful. Okay, all right, so that's that. And now you can take and bring this down. You're going to fold these in, and then fold one in, pop that on top of the other one, and we're going to put glue. Let me see here. One of these kind of curves in slightly, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like they're both pretty straight, so it doesn't really matter. Put one in, okay, and then you can go ahead and apply glue to the other one. Just kind of keep it around the perimeter, mostly. Like so. And just make sure your box is nice and rectangular. Bring that down, close it up. Just like that, very simple. And then you can just push down from the inside, help the rest of that really get a good hold. If you need to kind of square it up a little bit, totally understandable. Okay, so that's that. And let's take a look at our mortar board here. Okay, so we have 3 layers for the mortar board. You're going to start with your gold layer. Then this is Encore, I think it's lead. Okay, we're going to glue that right onto the gold. Start here where I have plenty of surface area. And again, I didn't really do a lot of inking on this. Maybe put a little dot on each of these little scallops. Very small little dot. fill it in the rest of the way. And you can tell how this goes on. There's a little diploma here on one side, so just make sure you line it up with that, as well as those scallops. And that's just so we have that little bit of gold peeking through. Gives it a nice little touch. There we go. Perfect. Press that down. Hold it down for just a second. And then grab this piece here. And again, this is going to go down like this. You want to match up the little diploma. That's to give it that little two-tone feel. And this also coordinates with your school color. The same color that we used for the main part of the bag. There we go. Okay, and what you'll notice is that we do have a series of little markers there to help you with the placement of these little numbers. So just use them to your advantage. Try to make sure that they stay nice and straight. Okay, so we've got 2024 for this one, and I'm sure you'll have plenty of graduates in the coming years that this will come in super handy for. And once you do it once, pardon my head here for 1 second. Once you do it once, the next time you do it, it'll be a breeze. Whoops, we didn't want that. Okay, that looks good. Press that down, and then let's do the 24. There's one part of the bag that I did forget to put together, and I'll show you what I forgot here in a second. I did jump ahead a little bit, but where the heck is, there it is. I was just trying to find the little marker. So there's 2 markers for the 20. Chances are, well, there's only 1 marker for the bottom numbers, and that's more of just a guide to make sure that you have it in the correct spot. It's not going to hug the numbers perfectly if you're using anything other than a 2 and a 4. But it's just to help you kind of find that bottom line. Just like that. Just make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. Okay, real quick here, going back to the bag, we need to put this piece in place. This is our little skin tone here. Okay, and that's just going to go right in here like a little puzzle piece. Just pop that down as far as it'll go. There we go. Okay, back to our mortar board. So we have the diploma here, and that is made up of 3 layers. Bottom layer is going to be white. Middle layer is going to be, I forget what color this is. I want to say it's like stone or desert sand. I forget. It's all in your PDF, so no worries, you'll find it. Okay, and I'm just going to match that up as accurately as you can. Just like that. And then 1 more layer on top. And this layer here, you'll see, has this top layer that we're putting down right now, has a series of markers. And that's to help us with the placement of our bow. Speaking of the bow, I did go through and ink most everything, except I must have forgot to do the bow. Now I'm just going to take and I'm just going to quickly hit this with a little bit of ink. I'm not sure that it's going to show up very much. Usually on a dark red like this, I will try a comparable red that's maybe a little bit darker, but that was not working at all. In which case, sometimes you need to go with a purple for it to even show up on a dark red like this, just to give it a little bit of distress. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And yeah, this one, like I said, goes together pretty quick. There's a few things, there's actually one more thing that I did forget to do on the bag, which we'll go over. It's pretty straightforward. It's just donuts. So if you're hungry, we're talking donuts. You'll see what I mean. I'm not trying to get off track here. Bear with me. Okay, so that's fine. Just muddy it up a little bit. And we have our diploma assembled. You can see exactly where it goes. Okay, so that's just going to get glued down right there. And we're using a real tassel for the mortar board. Actually, you know, surprisingly, I went to Michael's and Joann's, and they didn't even have tassels. They had some tassels in that department where you use them for like upholstery and stuff like that, but nothing craft size. So I actually had to order them from Amazon, and surprisingly, they were super cheap. I got like 50 of them for like $6, which blew my mind. Okay, so for this piece here, we're just gonna put some glue on this little rectangular part, and there's a set of markers here. It looks like the bottom of the base of a mushroom. So that's gonna go right there, and then the little part, that's where this little, the little bow of the tail of the bow is gonna go. And for the actual bow itself, I'm just gonna put glue on the center of it. And there's a little marker there to help you with the placement of that as well, so that it looks like that. And I wanna keep it like that to give it a little bit of dimension, okay? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna suggest you do. You'll notice that on this mortar board here, there's a little slit right here, and that is to kind of hold the tassel in place right there. So we want it kind of hanging like that, and then this is how much slack you have left over. So we're gonna have to kind of work with that slack and pop it through there. Okay, we'll feed it out the other hole. Let me just kind of singe the edge of that. It's starting to kind of unravel a little bit. Okay, we'll keep it like that, roughly.
Who's texting me? Who's texting me?
Oh my God, dude. Okay. And then just kind of hold it in that little spot and then tie it nice and snug. And then I would feed this back through the other side, and you can either trim it or maybe just trim it a little bit, and then you can take and tape the rest of it down just in case. I don't like to trim off too much because then if it unravels, it'll fall off. So you can hot glue it, you can tape it down. We're actually gonna take and foam square this onto the bag, so no one's really gonna see it anyway. But now when it sits there and hangs, it'll actually stay in place for the most part. And if you want to make it more permanent, you could take and actually just put just a little bit of hot glue on there, or even like a 3D Zot, like one of these little guys. Pop it back here just so that a little bit of it is showing right through that little area, and then it'll grab it and it really won't go anywhere. Okay, so that's a cool little way to do that. And now I'm going to take this and flip it over, and I'm going to grab my foam squares, and I'm going to apply my foam squares to the back of this. So we're going to raise this up a little bit. Okay, just spread them out nicely so that it's nice and solid on there. Peel off the backing. These black ones are, whatever company this is, let me see what company this is. It's made by them. Scrapbook Adhesives. Very clever name. Very creative name. Okay, there we go. Grab our bag. And you'll notice down here, there's a set of little markers there as well. And that's to help you with the placement of this. Just get that right on there. And to wrap this one up, I mentioned donuts. Now there's one donut for each of the holes, and that's just gonna get glued to the inside just to add one more layer of reinforcement. Okay, and obviously there's going to be a cord going through there, and we don't want it getting ripped up and chewed up. I mean, there's already quite a few layers with all the white that's in the front, but for a good measure, just go ahead and add the 4 to the inside right around that hole to reinforce it a little bit, because that back layer especially is only 1 layer thick. So I guess technically if you wanted to, you could use both of these donuts on the back, but I think that's plenty. And then finally, I have some nice gold cord here, and all I'm going to do here is just feed it through the front. Okay, and I guess you could do it, I'm going to do it this way, like this. Okay, I would just take it, this is thick enough to where you should just be able to tie a single knot and it should stay in place. Just get it right out to the edge so you're not wasting too much of this. Just feed it through like so, and just kind of figure out exactly how much handle you want. And I would trim about there, and just kind of singe the edge, feed it back through, tie it again. You could trim the inside a little bit more if you want, it's up to you. I like how thick this is, it'll actually stand up and look nice. You get the idea. Okay, there we go. So there's one side. Do the same thing to the back, and you got yourself a beautiful graduation gift bag. Oh, and by the way, this one can, if you want, you'll notice that there's a series of little score marks here. I put this thing together first, and I would just kind of very gently start to kind of fold it just from the top, bring it down to about there. It's more of an aesthetic. It doesn't really matter to me if you do or not. It does look kind of nice though. But that's gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.